Turner Yell makes the stop in the secondary for Denver. 1st and 10. The fake. Good block in there, and down it goes. Caught at the 30.
Welcome to the Fins tailgate. It's where we elevate. Miami Dolphins talk, yeah, we never hesitate. Breaking news, hot takes, we keep it up to date. And when the fans speak up, the panel resonates. We live that aqua and orange from the field to the mic. Breaking down the plays, man, we talk it every night. From Tua to the defense, you know we keep it tight. NFL moves, you know we got the insight. We open up the floor, yeah, it's your time to shine. Fans drop the heat with opinions realigned. You got concerns, bring them, we're gonna chime. The Fins tailgates, where we keep it prime. Welcome to the Fins tailgate, it's where we elevate. Miami Dolphins talk, yeah, we never hesitate. Breaking news, hot takes, we keep it up to date. And when the fans speak up, the panel resonates. The NFL's changing, but we stay on the grind. Latest breaking stories, we don't waste no time. From the trades to the rumors, we make them all align. At the Fins tailgate, we always on the climb. We're repping the Dolphins, but it's NFL-wide. From South Beach to the league, we keep it worldwide. Got the fans engaged with the energy supplied. Come kick it at the tailgate, we're riding high tide. Welcome to the Fins tailgate, it's where we elevate. Miami Dolphins talk, yeah, we never hesitate. Breaking news, hot takes, we keep it up to date. And when the fans speak up, the panel resonates. So if you love the game, you know we got the gate. Tune in, speak out, don't wait, it's your fate. This is the Fins tailgate, now watch us dominate. Miami Dolphins, NFL, yeah, we integrate.
What it is, what it do. Welcome to another episode of the Fins Tailgate with your host, El Capitan. Tonight on the tailgate party that never seems to stop, Miami Dolphins out here with Chris Greer making money moves. Doing something when everybody is, either A, on vacation, getting on vacation, grinding these last couple of days out for work, preparing for the Day of Independence of this nation. It's the party time. Everybody knows it. We can all feel it. It's summer. You're fatigued. It's hot as hell, and you need to, have a good time. We're all kind of distracted, right? We're all kind of distracted in one way or another. We got stuff going on. It's the football off season, so this is where you're like, okay, a little more free time. A little more of this. I'm going to start getting some stuff. The routine isn't in. Come football season, everybody got their routine. Sunday football. Monday, we talk about how we got losted or winded. Why did it do this? We have our routines in family and life. There's school. There's this. Summertime, no football, no hockey, no freaking NBA, no sports. Everything's just kind of chill. I know there's still baseball, but while it gets quiet and distractions are out, the Dolphins making moves. We're going to get right into it, everybody. We're going to talk all about what happened, what transpired, who got what, where, when, why, and what does it mean? What does it mean? Is this good? Is this bad? Is this meh? What is it? And we will deduce all the information available to us. And shout out to everybody in chat getting in here. Hit the like button. If you're watching on X, Twitch, Twitter, Kick, wherever, come over here to YouTube, partake in On the Family, and get in over here on YouTube. Shout out to everybody who's in here early and often. Bryson got in here early. What's going on, Bryson? Michael K in here, slanging super boxes. I did get the super box. It's working. It works good. We'll tap in later on that. Marino's GOAT. Salute to Marino's GOAT. Always in here. Ms. Relentless, member and family member in the crib. Welcome, Ms. Relentless. Finn's Rule in here. What's going on? Yeah, he's quoting that. Well, we'll get into that in a minute. Who else in here? Nene. Hello, Nene. Salute. Nice space earlier when all the news was breaking. Everybody, again, like I said, we're all kind of half in, half out. Week is kind of fumbling around. We're still trying to get our bearings about us, and Nene took over. Appreciate you, Nene. Scott Jackson, salute. Adam, what's going on, Adam? Fins up. Now, I know you told me how to pronounce it before, but I'm looking at it. I'm like, Ogiune. Or no, it's Ogune. So if I recall correctly, salute Ogune. Who else up in here? Hit the like button. Tonk making it in. Yeah, he's undercover. I see it. Tua Tuesdays. What's up, bro? Where you been at? Tua Tuesdays in the crib. Salute. Roberto Valdez, using his 26-month membership, says Ramsey given junk contract that we had to attach our only Pro Bowler to get rid of him for a guy who already quit on a franchise. Tupac Greer. Dang, we're going to get into it. Hit the like button. Ogoon. I know, but the OG Goon. That's what it is. It's the OG Goon. Goon. I like the OG Goon. I like that. Shake Money in the crib, member and family member. Salute Shake. Even Trucker Sean getting drug up in here. Hit the like button, everybody. You're vacationing in PR. I'm gonna be there later this week. Going to Aguadilla or some shit. So I'll be there literally next week to a Tuesday. No cap. The whole fan dam. So let's not waste any more time. Okay. Let's not waste any more time. So about 7 hours ago, right around 10:30, 10 a.m. or so. What's up, Laurel? Lauren Mile watching on X. Everybody over here, or excuse me, on Kick, welcome. Lauren Mile 24, welcome. We're all over here on YouTube. If but enjoy over there on the new X. Oh man, my mic was low, huh? CCRR, what's going on, buddy? All right, so let's get into this. So about 7 hours ago, trade news hits. The Miami Dolphins have traded Jalen Ramsey to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this kind of information's been leaked out, been confirmed, been talked about, that the Steelers were heavy into the Jalen Ramsey talk, along with a few other teams, but the Steelers wanting him. And it was kind of odd because I think back to Jair Alexander doing his little bit of free agency after Green Bay cut him and left him, that, he goes ahead and gets signed with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, kind of thinking about it, right? Baltimore Ravens secondary gets a little bit better. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who've added tons of guys. They got Slay. They got whatever. We won't go into all that. But getting Aaron Rodgers, showing that they're a team that's all in, looking at a divisional opponent in the Ravens getting better in their secondary, them needing to get better in theirs. Plus, that AFC North seems to be scared of freaking Joe Burrow. Let's call it for what it is. Joe Burrow be putting on a show in there, and if he's healthy, he mixes it up. And these teams have to account for that type of quarterback play in that division. And so for a while now, we knew that the Pittsburgh Steelers were really knocking on the door for Jalen Ramsey. And they pulled the trigger. The news comes flying out. Everybody, oh my God. Blah. And it says Adam Schefter dropped it. He says ESPN sources. The Miami Dolphins have agreed to trade 3-time All-Pro Jalen Ramsey to the Pittsburgh Steelers. As a part of the trade, Ramsey will get $1.5 million raise, bringing his compensation up to $26.6 million. Jalen Ramsey gets what he wants, a slight pay bump, and Steelers get who they want. Now, here's the weird thing. $1.5 million for all this talk about Jalen Ramsey not wanting to be with the Dolphins and all this talk and yada, yada, yada. And we knew it was about money. Do we really think it was $1.5 million in money? Was it really just that little amount? I don't know. But as we're sitting here trying to decipher, oh my goodness, Dolphins, what's the compensation like? That's all Dolphins fans can figure out. What's the compensation like? What does this mean? What does this mean? We're giving them him, and what do we get? What do we get? Because that we knew Jalen Ramsey did not want to be here. Jalen Ramsey having a bit of a hold in, right? Having a bit of a stanky face McGee. Because of that, is Jalen the 1.5 million? That's what Jalen Ramsey's stanking over, and we haven't even had enough time to really decipher what that actually means. And then the second part of a massive trade comes down to yonder. The Miami Dolphins have announced a trade part 2 with the Jalen Ramsey trade. They also send Jonnu Smith to the Steelers. Dolphins getting rid of one of their best defenders and one of their best offensive players, both going to the Steelers. Steelers signaling to the world, we are all in on the Aaron Rodgers, gonna play in the cold weather here in the frigid cold of the north, gonna take us to the promised land, and we're putting our money where our mouth is. We're getting players. But what did it cost them? Well, oddly enough, for anyone who doesn't know, Minkah Fitzpatrick was dealt back to the Miami Dolphins. That's right. The same Minkah Fitzpatrick that the Dolphins drafted in 2018, who left the building after didn't really get along so much with Brian Flores, as well as Xavier Howard and him, who had a lot of personal things, we'll say, behind closed doors. There was a little bit of stuff about somebody's girlfriend and something here, something there. We all know Xavier Howard was one to partake in the dirty. Anyhow, but Minkah Fitzpatrick, once dealt to the Steelers for a first-round pick, now is redealt back to the Miami Dolphins in a trade in which Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, to round out the idea of the trade in 2027, the Dolphins also sent a 7th rounder, and the Pittsburgh Steelers gave them a 5th rounder. So there's some kind of compensation. How do we feel about this? How do we feel about this? Salute to Mona Illustrator watching on Kick. How do us Dolphin fans feel about this trade? Because to me, it's kind of a weird circumstance, right? We've made, we've been wondering what's going to go on at safety. I know we've added a bunch of guys, but as far as it being an answer, I don't think we had a full solid answer. And to be honest, the Dolphins didn't pick in the first 3 rounds at safety like a lot of people thought that was going to happen. Yet here, the first week of July, well, the last day of June, they get a top tier safety. I mean, they get an incredible first round safety that they know intimately. A guy they scouted, a guy they know, a guy that has been a 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. He has a combined 606 tackles, 20 interceptions, 4 of which he took to the house. Alabama boy, knows Tua, locker room guy. Now, here's the interesting part. Jalen Ramsey, not so much a locker room guy. There was some talk about bringing him in as a leader. Remember when Fangio, and he got in here and he knows Fangio's defense. Yeah, he had not a fucking nice thing to say about Fangio, which was kind of odd. Then, even further down that rabbit hole, he kind of walled himself up. Didn't get invited to the cool kids table, where we know is very important here in Miami, the cool kids table. Didn't really become part of the culture, wasn't the leader. Is Minka that guy? I would say if you wanted to ask which personality do I want in the locker room for team building, I would take a guy like Minka over Jalen Ramsey. I would also say Jalen Ramsey is edged out by Minka Fitzpatrick due to youth and youth alone. Plus monies. Corners are a lot more expensive than safeties in any measure you want to measure that. So hit the like button, everybody. If you're watching again on X or Twitch or Twitter or Kick or where else, come over here to YouTube. Get in with the family over here. Marino's Goat says, Marino's Goat, we're going to be in the blender this week. I've never been so hyped. It's going to be a banger. I can't wait. Marino's Goat's going to be there. I can't wait, Marino's Goat. Shout out to Shake Money. Sweet. Look at Mystic in the crib. What's up, Mystic? We've got a poll in the chat right now asking, did Miami come out on top of this trade, of these trades? Right now, poll is winning. 56% of people say yes, 21% no, and 24% say wash. Everybody hit the like button, please. Let's get the likes up. Got tons of people in here, not even half the amount of likes that we should have. So let's get it in. Oh, you didn't know about the X stuff, Mystic? No. It wasn't just that. No, there was some X stuff that was common knowledge a little bit. So is that Pete? What's going on, Pete? We win in the division this year. Chris Greer has cooked. All right, okay. Vamos got those. What's up, buddy? Raph, Ron, what's going on, Ron? Yes, Tyreek Hill is going to be – it's going to the – no, he's not. I mean, maybe. Holler. Well, if you can kind of recall, Xavier Howard and Flores were really kind of tight back then, and there was this weird old heads shitting on the young guys type of thing, and it was football kind of stuff. But, you know, I don't know. Again, is this going to be a culture change? I would argue that I like a mentality like Minka Fitzpatrick on the football team, but is it a culture change kind of guy? What does this actually mean? Did the Dolphins get better? Explain that to me. In this move, did Miami get better? Are we more competitive minus Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith and plus Minka Fitzpatrick? Is the 2025 Miami Dolphins a better football team? I don't think so. I don't think it's a stretch to even say that they are not. I think the Miami Dolphins today, talent on paper, are less than they were. Maybe not so much defensively, right? I would call it a potential schematic difference. As important as Jalen Ramsey is of a corner, I would say in Weaver's defense, because this year Weaver made his defense last year with the parts that he had. This year it's got his literal fingerprints all over it. And it's pretty obvious to me that Weaver is a guy that likes to get organic pressure with the front seven. He's going to have lane containment and bring design blitzes. And also, he asks a lot of his middle linebackers and outside linebackers in zone coverage up underneath, keeping everything in front of them. In which case, you're probably going to see a lot of four shell. Maybe those in and out twins where guys, it shows cover four, and then one or two guys come down and the other two pop up. There's going to be a lot of that, I think, going on in the Weaver defense. In which case, Jalen Ramsey is a really good guy because of his versatility. But you could probably, and actually, you can most certainly get the same amount of versatility usage out of a guy like Minkah Fitzpatrick at a discounted price. And talent v. talent, as far as Minkah Fitzpatrick in talent relative to safeties, is top tier. Where, yes, okay, Jalen Ramsey is tiered talent in corners, but in this defense, you don't need a corner any more than you need the safety to run the type of shell defense that we're going to see from Weaver this shell. Because I'm telling you, that's what we're going to see. The personnel, the additions, everything. Mark my words. Listen in. Weaver's defense is going to have a 4-high shell look that's going to bring down and interchange some guys out. And they're going to ask a lot from those coverage linebackers underneath and want to get design blitzes with their front 4, front 5, whatever they're showing. So, but offensively, I think they took a little bit of a hit, but how much of a hit, right? Jonnu Smith had an out-of-body experience last year, a product of the Mike McDaniel offense, a product of the Miami Dolphins talent on the football team. That's just a fact. Jonnu Smith was coming out and able to have easy mismatches because teams are either A, worried about getting deep and not letting Tyreek Hill and others get outside and on top of them, or B, coming down and playing those inside windows in between the tackles and getting in those throwing lanes to take them away on those short slants, those drag routes. And Jonnu Smith's able to have kind of like that designed little rollout, designed little flats, and really eat up. But wouldn't anybody kind of eat up in that? Don't get me wrong, Jonnu Smith moves hella fast for the size that he is. Dude's a freaking house. Buddy's straight. Blah. He's yoked up. He's a big boy. And he moves very fast. And that, you got a nickel corner or a safety or, even for him, like a D lineman, he can run away from those guys. These smaller coverage linebackers have a harder time bringing them down. And then the bigger linebackers and safeties have a harder time covering them. So he's a good mismatch. But is he more of a product of a Mike McDaniel offense along with the personnel the Dolphins possess? I would say so. I would say if you look at his career, that would be it. He was used a lot. I see Tony on X. Tony, you should be over here on YouTube, but he says, would you agree Smith's success was mostly due to Dolphins offense failures? I see what you mean by that, Tony. I think what you're saying in that is that, like, if someone's going to be successful, it's got to be, who is it? Like, all of the touches and all of the points and or whatever's going to somebody. And it just so happened this year, the new weapon, the only weapon opponents don't have on the Miami Dolphins of film to go back and look at is, yes, Jonnu Smith. And even heading into last year, before we got Jonnu Smith, if you went back and watched some of the film, you could see that, man, if we had a tight end, there's just, because everyone's so busy with everything else, the Devon Achane getting loose out back, coming around the bend at 100 miles an hour pre-snap on a freaking wheel route, just fucking sprinting. Like, that forces the safeties. It forces these nice pockets. And you're like, damn, if we just had somebody. In his first year, Alec Ingold was eating that up. But he's a little inconsistent with his, his play time here and there. Because he does a lot. We ask a lot of that guy. We just knew that if we had a little bit more dynamic of a tight end, that he was somebody that was going to, benefit from everything else we already possess. And we went and got one, and there he is. Went to the Pro Bowl, one of the best players on there. But it's not like the guy is, dude. He's not fucking Rob Gronkowski. Sorry, just gonna say he's not Rob Gronkowski. He's not Travis Kelce. He's not Aaron Hernandez. I don't give a shit what y'all say. The guy was a demon on and off the field. He's not a game-changing tight end, in which case when you pay him what Miami paid him for the production that we received, hell yeah. But now that he's dealt to Pittsburgh, I think they're giving him $12 million. That's way more than I want to spend on a tight end. That's way more. I ain't trying to get in down on all that. Miami looking to save some money, which is why all these trades are happening, which is why all of this is even being talked about. Miami's wheeling and dealing. How come? Let me see if I had it. Just a little bit of a breakdown here from Sports Track of what financial savings the Dolphins are still on the hook for, and, yada, yada, yada. Oh, just some real quick background. PFF ranking of Minkah Fitzpatrick last year, he was 52nd. Year prior, he was 38th. Year prior to that, he was 7th in 2022. That was when he was lighting it up. 2021, he was 107th. And in 2020, he was 9th. He was 14th in 2019 and 111th in 2018. It's PFF grades, so take for that what you will. I'm pretty sure they rank him in DBs, not in safeties. So the Dolphins send out $25.2 million of salary in this trade, bringing back $15.5 million on the Fitzpatrick deal. They free up cash cap in a messy situation with Ramsey, which, as we know, this is according to Sports Track. See if there's a little bit more better of a breakdown. I kind of wonder what money is Minkah owed, what money is Ramsey owed. Dolphins are on the hook for what they're on the hook for over the next 3 years. They owe money. It's already been paid. That's what you guys understand. He's already received it. Whatever. Fucking guy. It's Ramsey, boy. When you're a name and you got something in the NFL, you do it like guys like Ramsey. That's what they do. They're smart. Ramsey counts for $6.75 million in dead cap this year as a post-June 1st trade each of the next 3 seasons, and then $4.98 million in 2028. But the cap savings between 2025 and 2028 will come out to $9.9 million, $18.3 million, $20.1 million, $32.2 million, and this is all through over the cap. So all that other money they've gotten off the hook, out of their lives with the Ramsey deal. So, and not having to worry about it. He wanted more new money and better guarantees for this year and next, and I'm sure that's what they're going to get. We're going to find that he got in the Steelers, because Steelers are going all the way in this year, and if they get close enough, they'll do it again next year, or they'll blow it up. Well, a Steelers blow up is different than everybody else's blow up, but you know what I mean. So immediately after the second part of this whole situation comes out, we hear from a good old friend of Miami, someone who played on this team, made some money, good little baby boy. Raheem Mostert piped in on this deal. Now, Raheem Mostert, no longer a Miami Dolphin. He says, hot take, be a Pro Bowler on the Dolphins, get treated like shit. Happy for my guys, though. Go ball out. Talking about Ramsey. Talking about Jonnu Smith. This is what Raheem says. Go make your money. Dolphins treat their superstars like shit. That's what he said. That's what Ramsey's saying. Now, is this just an open-ended deal now? The new predication that players in the NFL want is I sign you to a 3 to 5 year deal, and then next year you want more money and re-sign to a 3 to 5 year deal, and then next year you want more money or you want to leave. That's what they want. They want now everybody to have to come back to the table every single year. And I think the players right now, they're getting the better of contract negotiations as of recent, but soon, and I mean sooner than you think, there's going to be a little bit more strict type of contract negotiations where here's your guarantees and you get nothing more guaranteed. They're going to give, we can have maxed out contracts in type of positional groups with a sliding scale, and you'll get all of that guaranteed, or you'll get, 1 year deals. Something's going to have to give, because crying about the Dolphins not giving these guys more money, it's bullshit. Raheem's a superstar that Miami needed to pay. He's mad he's not here. I don't know. Pete, probably. Where is Raheem now? Isn't he with the Raiders, or is he retired now? I can't remember. Did he retire? But now that he's with the Raiders. Thank you, Reno's. That's what I thought. Losing Jonnu does hurt Ace, but I'll tell you what would hurt me more. If we gave Jonnu more money and he takes a major step back to what he's really usually at. And I think that's something we're getting away from. Plus, if we're being real, this is the lay of the land. You can't pay everybody. You got to ask guys to you got to make savvy business moves where players are outperforming their money. And now if there's a massive discrepancy, a massive one, where this guy is seriously overperforming and is seriously underpaid for his value, then you go, yeah, I got to give this guy more money. I want him here longer. And that brings me to my next point. What are they going to do about the Zach Sealer situation? Because Zach Sealer is quietly not happy about his contract. And not so unquietly. Unquietly? I don't know if that's a word. Not so hush-hush. Because now that Jonnu Smith's gone, the Dolphins are certainly looking, and it's already been reported that they are reaching out to other teams with tight ends, looking to make a move to bring somebody in the building. Say they do. Say they work out. A name that's popping up on the list is a Raiders player. Shout out to the callback with the Raheem Mostert to Raiders. But tight end Michael Mayer is a guy that's on the list right now. Another name we've heard thrown around a lot in these parts is Kyle Pitts. On unconfirmed reports of the Dolphins for weeks now have been reaching out to Kyle Pitts. It's been talked about in all of that realm. It's been talked about since Jonnu Smith didn't show up and wasn't going to show up. And just want to point out, 2 guys didn't show up and 2 guys be gone. So, do the Dolphins take some of this cap savings and go and get a Kyle Pitts? And if they do, are they going to be smart and make sure that there's some money to have left over to figure out some kind of rework deal with Zach Sealer? Because he wants it. He wants some more money, and he deserves it. I think it's hard-pressed somebody who the Dolphins for years now have gotten more bang for their buck. And I don't think Sealer's a real greedy guy. I think he wants to stay a Dolphin. I think he wants to retire a Dolphin. I think think he likes being a Floridian, honestly, and we appreciate that most about guys like Zach Sealer. These are, welcome additions to the state of Florida. Hit the like button, everybody, on your way in. Now, here's something that maybe the Dolphins don't add anybody. Maybe they look at, what's his name? Westbrook Kine or whatever the fuck his name is. Nick Westbrook. And think, hey, he can get a lot of the production in the slot for us that we were getting with Smith. Maybe they go and look to do a trade. Maybe they think they got some guys in the building. I forget who their tight end room's got now. Let's look that up real quick. Julian Hill, Pharaoh Brown, Tanner Connor. Hell yeah. Let's go Tanner Connor. All that Tanner Connor hype every year. See if it's going to pay out. Maybe it's time. Maybe it'll finally show up. The Tanner Connor show. We've been waiting for it for like 5,000 years now. I keep hearing about how fast he is, how much talent he got. We see him get out there. He does a couple blocks, makes a catch, and then he's injured. We don't see him again. It's incredible. Never seen anything like it. Yeah, I have. Now here's, what if they do nothing? What if they roll with what they got? I don't think so. They got to add another corner. They could probably go with what they got in tight end room and think, okay, we got another running back. We can give those touches to Alec Ingold and the new guy Westbrook. We can, spread the ball around. Listen, Jonnu Smith got all those touches. Well, you know who didn't get them? Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, the guys who were getting it the year prior, which we then found ourselves in better winning percentages than with them. Jonnu Smith had all this success. You know who didn't have success? The fucking Miami Dolphins. That's who didn't have success. Now, that ain't got nothing to do with him, I guess. Or does it? It's high time the Dolphins offense, with all this firepower and a quarterback that's making $1 gazillion, starts producing the products of the offense, starts making somebody more valuable that teams want to trade us for. Teams do it. You got another tight end, you got another running back, got another wide receiver. It's a mid-round guy, UDFA. They play incredible for, a postseason and another season, and then teams are beating down your door wanting to trade for him. And you take a guy that was nothing, that you got a couple years of production out of, and you let him go for a third. And you just bring in the next motherfucker because we got the system. We got some superstars. Where's this for us? When you're paying quarterbacks the type of money you're paying for, they got to produce something. Gotta do something. So, what that something is, I don't know. But I do know that is this the other way of looking at it? If the Dolphins don't do anything, and I still think we have a wildly talented football team, defense could be something, right? Could be something pretty good. If Weaver really gets it going and we find a pass rush and, some people finally live up to the billing we have and for them, that's Bradley Chubb, who was good until he got injured. That's Jalen Phillips, who was good until he got injured. Chop Robinson. All this defensive front, these linebackers we brought in, the new defensive tackle from Michigan we brought in. Now Minka in the back lurking, looking, playing pick out. Hopefully he's just a Roman safety back there, and just you'd let him play free and say, hey, these guys got this. You find where the heavy side of the formation is. Do a little predictions. Snatch a couple footballs. Go Ed Reed that shit out there, homie. Go Ed Reed that shit out there, homie. You think this is a time in which you're going to sneak down in the box and blitz from the corner? You better be right. Better be right. But I won't let you do it. And call the formation. Man, every bear. Let's do it. No, I'm not talking about Sealer, Scott. I'm talking about Kenneth Grant. But yes, Sealer as well. All of these guys think the defense is going to be all right. Offense bro. Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. I'm not even going to name anybody else. It could literally be a mixed bag of nuts. Those weapons alone on any competent quarterback should be a decent football team. Now, there is some concerns. We got a new left tackle starting. Well, a new starting left tackle. There's not a new tackle. Got a new left guard. We're still shaking out to see what happens at right guard. How are we going? Right tackle, we know who that is, but at the same time, Austin Jackson's been injured, so we got to worry about that. Got to have a, backup plan. Aaron Brewer, who I was not that high on. I thought he wasn't going to be, thought he was just a little too small, a little too light. Well, he proved me wrong. I will say this. Very rarely is El Capitan saying, hey, I was proved wrong, and that guy definitely proved me wrong. Aaron Brewer looked damn good, and I think he's a product of the offense. Call it what you want, but those combo blocks, his ability to get loose into the second level, everything he's done pretty good, man. I like that, and it's a very valuable contract for what we're paying. I think he's getting like fucking $6 million a year or some shit small. So, but here the Dolphins unload in an obvious trade that you're losing more talent than you're recouping. I have a starting Pro Bowl tight end, starting Pro Bowl cornerback that I'm going to then give up for a starting Pro Bowl safety. You can measure it in any way you damn well please. Apples to apples, Dolphins didn't come out better on the deal as far as what they're fielding on their 53-man roster week in and week out. Now, that's yet to be addressed, right? It's yet to be seen. The product is incomplete. It's incomplete at this point. But if we were going into this Sunday, 4th of July weekend, man, what a fucking American-ass tradition that could be. This Sunday, 4th of July weekend, starting NFL Week 1. That feels like something we're missing in the country, but whatever. If this team was fielding this Sunday, I would say the Dolphins got visibly weaker. Visibly. But there is now context, and the context is there's financial changes, differences from what they are now on the hook for, which gives them a little bit of room to be flexible. They have some flexibility, and Chris Greer cooking. Chris Greer in the lab, he just grabbing, let's get some of this red shit. What this yellow stuff do? What this green stuff do? Whoa, the glass melting. Let's start over. Chris Greer trying to do something. I would say as far as a general manager and what their job entails, they don't do any coaching. They're not rah-rah guys. They got jack shit to do with the culture. He don't know what the fucking parking patterns are. His job is to hire and fire and bring in talent. That's the job. The guy is bringing in talent. Oh, and manage the books. Manage the books. He brings in talent, and he manages the books. And there's a fine little do-si-do, little tangalo, little bit of, sometimes you got the flour in your mouth, and you got to fucking dip and shit and little spinning around. It's a tango when you're trying to field a very talented football team on a balanced budget. They balling on a budget, baby. And if the Dolphins just traded Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith and a 7th round 2027 and only were to receive, say, 3rd round pick, 5th round pick, 5th round pick. Let's say they just got a package of middle picks for the next 2 years. Well, it would signal to everybody and their mother that, oh, shit. Hey, the fucking Steelers are all in. They're trading away future assets for this year. They're all in, which they're kind of doing that anyhow. And B, the Dolphins are all out. Well, not all, but definitely not fucking around. They're not even gonna. They're kind of meh. But because there was this obvious standstill, Steelers been wanting Ramsey, been wanting Jonnu Smith, been trying to get him. They wanted both of them so bad that they let go of Minka. And I think that was Chris Greer's desire all along. Chris Greer, love Minka Fitzpatrick. Wait till you see Chris Greer come out with the press conference and they ask about Chris Greer. Wait, hold on. Yeah, you know, we just a really great thing that we're really happy about. You know, we always really loved Minka, really great guy, culture guy. All right, I got to work on my Chris Greer impersonation, but he'd be happy to take good credit on that because he loves Minka, loves him, always has, always will, and because of that. That's the Minka being a part of this obvious deal makes me think. Are they tanking? And if they are, why even take Minka? But they're not. So what is all this for? Is it just because Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey don't want to play with the Dolphins? Want more money? It was a trash impersonation. It was. I should have brushed up, Von Joe. It was trash. And Jarrett Hill says, Minka is a dog. So happy I can use my Minka. Yes, listen, there's plenty of us out here in these streets that are going to be happy to dust off the old Minka Fitzpatrick jersey and see it in here. Look what the fucking cat drug did. Imagine trading away Minka to tank, and then years later you bring him back to tank. Kadeem, you traded Minka away to tank, and now you're bringing him back to tank. Damn. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying, right? The irony. It's come full circle here for Minka Fitzpatrick. This is what, his 7th season? The NFL operates in a 7-season cycle. So if he gets I don't necessarily think it's a team on the tank, but it's a team. It's a team that if all goes wrong and they pull the plug mid-season, they've got assets to sell, fire sale, which is going to be wild. I mean, dude, it's just I don't want to make it about Tua and all this stuff, but like it's what the whole season hinges on, y'all. I don't know if it's a silent rebuild, because why would you rebuild? If you're silently rebuilding, you're really kind of screwing yourself. Like, you could silently rebuild young, and that I kind of understand, somebody important, but that's not what they did. They brought Minka in. Now, okay, all right, let's hold on now. Now, Minka, a guy who might embody the type of leadership you want to build around. Minkah being an absolute cornerstone, someone who Chris Greer believes that they can make a cornerstone in whatever new paradigm that the Dolphins would be post teardown. So if that's the case, then okay. But if you really want to rebuild properly, you go youth. You go young. You go young. And a rebuild takes, here's the problem with a lot of teams. It's at least the problem I've seen. A proper tank teardown rebuild takes 3 full seasons before you now on the 4th season is the rebuild. It's the rebuild. You need the tank and teardown year 1. And then over the next 2 seasons, you want to stack young talent and then pay that young talent early to build. Because if you go outside the building and you get these expensive free agents who come in and make it about them and their money, you're off the path. That's at least what I know from what I've seen here in Miami. Who's that? Is that Larry K? What up, Larry K? What you doing, buddy? Everybody rolling up in here. Hit the like button, everybody. There's certainly, by all projections, it's going to be a damn good quarterback class coming up this year and the next year, depending on if Archie Manning stays another year, which he probably will. That's why I say this year and next year. And the Dolphins, as a team, you got to always keep one eye to the future because this is the NFL and it is the not for long league and not for long for everybody involved. That's coach, that's quarterback, that's everybody. Yes, Kadeem's right. Hit the like button or I'm going to do the Chris Greer impression the rest of the show. Von Joe asks, what's the odds of Minkah getting traded for draft assets after the season ends, El Capitan? Because we all know players don't really want to play on their final year. Well, that's kind of what I said. I was alluding to a little bit earlier is that if this season is a failure and they pull the plug mid-season, Tua goes down with a catastrophic injury before the trade deadline, they will pull the plug on this season. And I think everybody not nailed to the fucking ground is on the trade block then. First thing I'm trying to do is get rid of Jalen Phillips. And I love the guy. Fucking love him. I wish to God that Jalen Phillips. I still think we're going to look back at Jalen Phillips going to be really good. But I can't wait forever, homie. Been fucking 5 years, homie. I needed something to re-sign. I'm not, maybe they, can transition or franchise tag him or something, but I'm not interested in doing that. I want to get rid of him. I'm not trying to tag to fucking negotiate with the bitch. I'm trying to get your ass up out of here for something. I'm thinking about trading Waddle. Fuck up out of here, Waddle. Certainly trying to offload Tyreek at the very minimum. I don't even care about trading him. Just get rid of the money. Do what I got to do. Tua, I would cut his ass. Unless somebody wants to trade, I'd trade him for whatever someone would give because of how much money we owe him. Y'all don't think y'all understand. See, we financially, the reason we aren't tanking this year is financially we can't. We're paying for this year and next year. It was all signed the year prior. We can't. We got so much money wasted on players that aren't here and players that are here for this year and next year that if there was ever going to be a tank year, it was next year. I told everybody this months ago, last offseason, before all the extensions came rolling in for Ramsey, Tyreek Hill, fucking Tua, Joe Mama, fucking Macbeth, fucking, I don't know. I'm just naming off bullshit now. Before all these extensions came, I said, look out. Because the Miami Dolphins team that got oh so close in the playoffs in 2023, Y'all keep pay the man. The market is what the market is. Old Daddy fucking Ross pulling out that checkbook going up. My spoiled kids are crying again. I don't think that's how he talks. I don't think he's got a country ass accent. But when he whipped out that checkbook and started throwing money at everything, I said, be careful because you're signing yourself up for the team that didn't cut it for 2024, 2025, and 2026. Now, I always said, listen, 2026 is a flip year, right? You're still paying for them in 2026, and none of them are here. And that's the tank year. And that's really kind of where we're at. That's where we are. And that's fine. I'm cool with it because really, guess what? It teeters in the other direction and everything is, going downhill. We kicking ass. If this team makes it happen, then we still have this team together for 2026. And I don't know, outside of Minkah Fitzpatrick, who probably will stomp the most, and whether or not Jalen Phillips is getting a transition or a tag of some tag designation, that's kind of where you got to be dicey. Because if the Dolphins find themselves in the playoffs and respectable, they want to, double down, they got to remind themselves to not, over leverage their future. Yeah, I'm off on my impersonations today, Alex. I don't know. Really not really hitting it. I'm good at mimicking and mocking people. That's kind of like my thing. Impersonations, I gotta hear them a couple of times before I do it. It's midnight over there in the land over the pond, as they say, across the pond. Shout out to Kadeem. Make sure you guys are going and checking out Go Time Dolphins, friends of the program, good dudes. Kadeem and Charlie over there, the homies. So, all right, let's get ready to wrap this up here directly, but let's go ahead and let's give a couple of names of some tight ends that the Dolphins should be looking at. Ooh, where do I think the roster stands in the conference? God, bro. Well, let's see. We got the Chiefs. I'm going to get a pen and paper to make this a little bit easier. It's actually a really great question. Somebody important. See, we got Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Bengals. I would say Steelers at this point. Now that division will beat themselves up, right? The AFC North's going to beat the hell out of each other like they typically do. Let's see, who else? I'm going to say the Texans because the Dolphins give me no reason to think that the Texans aren't better than them. Who am I missing here, guys? I know we have teams like the Patriots who we expect to be better and stuff, but will they be able to beat a team like the Dolphins? Are they better than the Dolphins? I don't know. I don't know if I'd put them in standing over them. Raiders, no. The Chargers are interesting. The Dolphins and the Chargers, as far as just the same fucking doghouse, bro. Like, they have lived in the same vicinity forever. Like that, those two teams have so many similarities. It's incredible. Chocolate talent, great quarterbacks, just never fucking getting it done. Denver, man, Mondo, Denver's a real hard one too. I mean, it's really just a lot. we could sit here and say, but if we're just again, and I get it, everybody, so many things happen, right? Like so much change. A team can go from worst to first. It happens every year. A team can go from first to just being garbage, in their own divisions, whatever. We see all this, but by and large, the margins don't swing that much. Every team is just outside of 500 or just under 500. There's always a couple teams that are a little top heavy and a couple teams that are a little bottom heavy. But all in all, it's very competitive. So it's hard to say it's too many teams are better than the Dolphins currently on paper today, just in a mano-a-mano type of sense. So I would say Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Texans, and we'll put the Dolphins are in the ilk of the Chargers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're seventh. I mean, we're right where we've always been. Somebody important. There's the seventh and eighth team in the AFC. The Dolphins are right there, along with 4 other teams that could say that they're the seventh or eighth team, meaning that the Patriots are pushing their way from the bottom. The Jaguars, say what you want, but Jaguars is going to be a big turnaround football team. Watch out. The Titans. Look the fuck out for the Titans. That Cam Ward is not a joke. And I also, when I look at Cam Ward, I look at somebody who's like, they think they just sent me to Tennessee to go die. And he's going to put Nashville on his back and make everybody want to come to Tennessee. Watch. Give it 4 years. Man, and this is just AFC, right? Like if we're going in the NFL, it's a little different. But just in our conference, I would say look out for the Titans. Look out for Chargers. Look out for Jaguars. Look out for Patriots and the Dolphins. These are the mishmash of teams. I would say the Dolphins and the Chargers sit on top of that tier of people just outside of it. But that's what it is. Carla, how is this an alternate reality? I'm talking like what it is. You can bookmark this show and go back and find everything I'm saying to be truthful. So, half the league makes the playoffs. We're going to celebrate that. Yeah, whatever. Cincy, I already had Cincy ahead of us. I think Cincy, listen, as long as Joe Burrow's there, again, I'm just talking about in the conference, in the AFC, mano-a-mano. It's that fucking Joe Burrow, dude. That guy's a son of a bitch. He's good. I wish he was my quarterback. So, what are some of the names the Dolphins should kick the tires on around here? Because I'm looking at, personally, now I don't know what the Dolphins could give up to get some of these guys, right? But seeing as how we're trading with motherfuckers in the AFC North, why don't we holler at the friggin' Ravens? They got Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. Now, I would preferably take Likely over Mark Andrews on youth, but I wouldn't be upset with no Mark Andrews either. The guy he's a killer. See, Carla, there's where you're. I love you, Carla, but it says we will see by end of September when we are 3-1. Cap, I have been right for 23 years. Carla, I will say we are 3-1 or 4-0 at the end of September. The problem is that when it comes to the end of the season, the Dolphins in the last 8 games go 2-6, 1-7. those first 4 weeks only count for 4 weeks. It's just not good enough. And I would say you're right with that. You can have that take not 2 to 3 years. That take is correct until further notice. But that's not what we don't get a trophy in fucking October. This isn't a trophy in this ain't the Halloween trophy. No, we don't get none of that. John is right. Hit the like button, everybody. Hit the like button. Nightmare74 says third or fourth in the division. I mean, look, right now, today, the Dolphins are second in the AFC East until the Patriots prove otherwise. I think the Patriots are going to be good, but I also think, you know what? They got Stephon Diggs, and let's not act like he isn't or couldn't be a distraction. I'm more afraid of what they'll become under the new coaching change. If they ever get that ship righted, they could be a real problem for us once again. And the Jets, I don't even know what's going on in New York Jets anymore. I have zero idea of what is going on with the New York Jets. Does anybody know what's going on with the Jets? Does anybody know? Because I have no idea what's going on with the Jets. I don't know. Hit the like button, everybody, though. Please. Get the likes up. I haven't a slight clue of what even's going on with the Jets. The Jets are definitely bottom of the barrel, worse in the division until something happens. You like their coach, Bryson. I can't even remember who their coach is. I know it, but like my brain is just like, Jets. My brain only keeps what I need anymore. I don't know. Maybe it was too much contact sports, too much football, too much wrestling, too much boxing, too much fucking contact sports in my life, but maybe it's too much fucking other shit in my 20s, too much partying in my 20s, probably too much partying in my 30s, too much partying in my evers, my forevers. But my brain can only compact so much. So if like what the Jets have going on, who their coach is, what's happening, I don't even know. Don't even want to know. Aaron Glenn, see, I don't even fucking know who the hell that is. I don't. My brain is just not holding on to useless information anymore. Not Aaron Glenn, sounds like a dork. New York Jets head coach, definitely a dork. Don't need to know him. You know why I don't need to know him? Because in 2 years, he'll mean and be nobody. So I don't even have to know the Jets. I don't even have to know this guy. I really don't. You say solid hire, Larry K, and I'm sure he is. But I say he won't be there in 3 years, and he'll be in the fucking NFC West or in college. And I'll never need to have been to Wiser to download information and store it up in my head for the Jets nobody coach who went nowhere and did nothing. That's kind of where I'm at this point in my life. Yeah, the Vrabel has me worried. Pete, I don't think you're going to see Mike McDaniel make Buffalo fire McDermott and Vrabel. Vrabel just got hired, and that Vrabel, God, I watch it. Whatever. That's the kind of football team I want. I know I don't get it. Am I asking too much? Am I asking too much in having a football team that's not run like a fucking business? It's run like a football team. And I get it, right? Like it's this new paradigm, this delicate thing where you got to be like, these people are so rich, they've got these egos, got all this stuff. Like, can I get, an offensive and defensive line where everybody's got fucking chewing their lip? Right? Can I just get a whole bunch of offensive and defensive linemen that got, they got that fucking thing? Look at that, chewing their lip. They don't give a fuck. They're just doing their job. They like to do airboating and fucking, in the off season, they catch fucking pythons in the Everglades. And then those guys can kind of hold everybody accountable. I love a wide receiver that's kind of a diva personally, because they're usually the best. Yeah, they're fucking hard to deal with in the locker room, and they don't shut the fuck up, and they're in the cameras, but that's okay. That's what you need in a great wide receiver. Those guys typically, you need an offensive lineman or defensive lineman that grab them by their shoulders and pick them up like a baby and say, listen, you need to calm the fuck down and watch your mouth when you're talking in there. And it's like, yes, sir, whoever the hell your name is. Same thing with corners. I like a feisty diva type of corner. But it all has to be kind of held together with accountability and coaching and all that stuff. I don't know. What I'm sick of is this constant rebrand of personality that we obviously don't have. We hear about this culture. We hear about the change. We hear about all this stuff. And, I think a couple of the players and Mike McDaniel, most importantly, coming out a little spicy about the players that aren't there and don't want to be there. And, there's this, hey, we're going to prove that, you don't want to be one of us. You ain't riding with us. You ain't living with, ride or die, bitch. Whatever the fuck kind of, like, we ain't got enough. We ain't got enough root type of shit in here. Nah, Bryson, I wasn't planning on dropping the link. I was actually planning on closing this bad boy up. Wanted to get in here early, talk for an hour or so about all this. So, matter of fact, I am going to drop. We are this. I appreciate everybody coming by. Listen, I haven't had any confirmation on this, but look for the Dolphins in the next couple of, sooner rather than later, to be adding an addition, maybe another trade. Some names to look out for that they could be potentially exploring: Mark Andrews, Cole Kmet, Dallas Goedert. There's some of these guys out there on other teams that I would be happy to bring these guys in. Got to look into the finances and what it would take to get these guys here. But, hey, let's get it. Make sure everybody's hitting the like button. Appreciate y'all coming in. We're going to have to, tap in. I'm going to be going to Puerto Rico this week, so you probably won't see me till the weekend, if at all, till maybe next week. But once we get everything settled in, I'm going to be going live, hopefully around this time that I went today, weekly. That's going to be the goal, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, trying to go live around 6 o'clock or so. So we'll see what everybody says as far as, how everybody likes it and everything like that. So hit the like button, everybody. Appreciate y'all coming by. We'll catch y'all next time. Fins up.